Okay, so let's have a look at this second problem. Let's look at it line by line. So, we've got the boilerplate, package main, import FMT. Then we've got the main function. There's only one function in this current program. There's no additional functions. We've got a variable called story, which has the word long in it. And then we've got repeated of type int, an integer, which is 3. And then we've got a for loop. Okay, so just to say that again, we've got a story and we've got repeated as two variables, declared those two variables and given them values. Now we have a for loop. For n equals 0, so start at 0, while n is less than repeated, which is 3, so while n is less than 3, do the stuff in between the two curly brackets inside the braces. And for every loop through, for every iteration, add 1 to n until it's, so every time, go through 3 times. Story equals story plus long. So story, which is the word long, equals story plus long, the word long. So we're going to glue long onto long. So first time round it will say long, long. Second time round it will say long, 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 and so on. And then once the loop is finished, print out a space story plus time ago. So let's run that and confirm what it does. Go run f how many letters.go a long, long, long time ago. Right, so our next job is to turn this into a function rather than to use a procedure, the main procedure. Okay, so outside of the main function, outside of the curly brackets of the main function, I'm going to create a new function and I'm going to give it a name. What we're going to call it? Bob. Example Bob, and it is going to receive, well, what does it need to have? We need to know how many times to repeat. Repeat it is the name I'm going to give my parameter, and it's going to be an integer. I don't know what return type I'm going to use just yet, so I'll not add a return type yet. Okay, so let's go straight into the loop. For n, I'm going to declare a loop using n. I could use a different letter, I suppose, but why not use n? For n equals 0, so start at 0, while n is less than, repeat it. So the number that gets passed into the function will be the exit number for the for loop. Okay, so repeat it until you've repeated it as much as has been asked. And then in here, we can say story. Oh, we haven't declared story yet, so we better create a story inside. The other story won't exist inside this function. Its scope, its life is inside here. We need to create a new story to go in here. Story equals story. Let's call it story 2, just to help you see the difference between this story and story, even though I could stick to the same name. Okay, so it is going to do this. It's going to do this function, and all right, I'm a bit nervous about how many brackets I've got now. Let's just double check my brackets. Opening bracket here, closing there. For loop, opening and closing. New function. That one's there. I've got 2 new brackets. There we go. Okay. And then outside the for loop, I want to return story 2. So, which is a string. So over here in the function, I'm going to have to say spit out a string. Okay. Now we haven't actually called, so we've made Bob, but we are not using it yet in the main function. So fingers crossed, I can get rid of all of this because all of this is now done in the function I've created. And I can use Bob. So in here, I'm going to go and print Bob, and I'm going to say, hold on, I've forgotten this instance. A speech marks plus, and then it's going to be Bob, open brackets, and how many times? I'm going to say 4 times, and then I'm going to glue on some more text. Time ago, a long time ago. I'm hoping it's going to say. Now let's see if that's working. A long time ago. And let's run it again with a different value for Bob. A long time ago, and then there we go, a long time ago. And I did ask you to do 3 examples, so oops. A long. Yeah, there we go. So I've created a function, and because I've made a function, the Bob function, I can use it over and over again. So even though initially it might seem like a ridiculous pain, if you need to use the subroutine over and over, functions are fantastic.